Hello, everybody. This is Victor here from Trend Following Trading for Beginners, and here's my weekly update on my sample trading portfolio coming up next. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of my weekly update. This week is got a big ups and downs in the market, so to speak, and there's quite a lot of exciting news going around, but mostly is all about two things: Apple and Tesla. On Monday, we have Apple and Tesla basically splitting its shares. Apple is from 1 to into 4 shares, and Tesla 1 to 5. And then basically, normally this is happening to create more liquidity for other people to put their money on those shares, make it more easy, accessible for most people to put their hands on those shares and basically help them to go up a bit more, which seems to have happened on Monday and a bit on Tuesday, but then it just come back down a little bit. Tuesday, basically, that's another thing about it. Apparently, Apple on Tuesday valuation is more than the top 100 public company in UK, in the FTSE 100 combined together. Apple shares basically gone up quite a lot and valuing around Tuesday 2.3 trillion. But in UK, all of the 100 public companies is in FTSE, the top 100 publicly traded shares is 1.5 trillion. That's you can say this America is much bigger country compared to UK, but then look at it. One share actually more valuable than the entire stock market in UK. I think this got a bit bananas, and at the same time, bit deja vu as well. Tesla, they said it didn't need any to raise any money to continue its production line and so forth. But suddenly is announcing share offering and try to take $5 billion US dollars from various banks and in the US market basically, and just raise $5 billion US for capitals for expansions and putting up new models. When it appears, I think just before the lockdown, they were saying they don't need any money. So it's just a bit strange, and then market continued to just go up, and Wednesday it got up another 450 points, and then boom, suddenly Thursday, Dow Jones ran down almost 1,000 points, but ended up like just minus 800 points or so. And Friday tried to recover, come back up like 200 points at one time, and then come back down but minus 150 or so points. So for the whole week, it's been very in the market wise, it's been very volatile. And personally, I just feel there's a lot of deja vu things going on here. When the market got a bit bananas and companies do take advantage of the sudden rise in the share price to raise more money, and the biggest worries for me is for me basically it's just what happened on Tuesday when Apple shares is more than the entire valuation of the top 100 UK publicly traded company. It basically means that one company is gone. The share price, however you believe how wonderful Apple share is, it's just gone bananas. It's very much similar to what you call back in the year 2003 dot-com bubble. Tesla, that's another story that I've been saying before. Fundamentally, I personally do not believe it's worth that much money. But the market, for some reason, just keep on chasing it up and up and up. And Apple is just falling through. I mean, granted, Apple is very much like a a brand that like a social status brand. You go in there, you buy Apple as a product. It has this great brand image. There is always I think especially in America, a lot of people just like buy Mac than Windows computers, and there's always a hardcore followings. And Apple has music and mobile phones and streaming servers, videos and music and so forth. So it's good, and I think try to go to cloud as well. But does it really worth that much of money compared to another 100 company, publicly traded company just across the pond in UK? I sort of doubt it a lot, very much so. And Tesla, I love the company, but ultimately is to me is both two type. It has two branches. One is a car. Is also because of its IT, the way this can self drive and stuff. And I think there's definitely a lot of IOs in there. Probably maybe in future it's split into two companies. One just concentrate more on the cars, the other one more on the IA. Maybe not just on cars, but maybe helicopters, maybe driving bus or the trucks. Are they talking about a train or even airplanes? Who knows? But that self-drive software and recognizing the surrounding and stuff, try to avoid obstacle and things be useful, and also for drone as well. It's a bit scary in a way. If you think of it, it's more like if you like Terminator. I love it, and it's a bit like drones might be able to, or airplane, military airplane, able to be adopted with using Tesla's flight simulation, whatever software, instead of using a car, using in the airplane, and then have a perfect so-called non bus whatever rating or something like that. It's always done its job and never get shoot off target or whatever, and 100% commission, that kind of thing. Always hit the target, so to speak. But it does scares a bit, and that's what Musk talk about AI and stuff. But that aside, as a company, I think it's a great company. Definitely, there's no doubt about it. However, to actually say it is so great that you don't have to worry about it too much anymore. It should just continue to go up, and the stock market is telling you it's go up forever. It's difficult for me to buy that, but like I said before, being a trend follower, I don't really care. I'm just gonna follow whatever the trend said. So, but it does rain all these little signposts. It does sort of shows a bit of warning bells to me. And then that was I did talk about it last week or so, mainly on Tesla, but now I was talking about Apple as well. And Thursday, that big hoo-ha from Dow Jones suddenly dropped down 800 points. Nobody knows what the heck's going on. There's a lot of like news, CNBC, Fox, whatever they keep on saying, oh, it went down because people think the stock market up since March or end of March, early April, and people just taking money out of the table because the U.S. and China still having a issue at each other's throat, so to speak. But that hasn't been news. It's just like 18 months, 2 years kind of news, and suddenly come into play. What's actually going on? I mean, there's also talk on Thursday about China, some news that sort of like a samples of the Chinese government saying they will try to sell treasury bills, whatever treasury holding, up to 20%, so down to like rather than 1.5 trillion or something, which is already Chinese government already starts selling its U.S. treasury bonds. Down to maybe 800 billion overall, which means down another 20% or something. At the moment, it's just over a trillion. Sorry, so right down to 800 billions down that mark. But that is only some noise. Will China really do it? I don't know, because it also hurts itself by selling the Chinese holding. That means U.S. dollars go down. Fair enough, but then also means that make the export of Chinese goods, services more expensive, and that means you have to import more. Well, you can buy more stuff, yeah, definitely, but it does make that Chinese goods and services not as competitive as so it's like a two-edged sword as well. So I'm not sure will China actually do that, but one thing for sure, China has always been, from my research, what I read, has always been very good at timing the market when to sell the U.S. Treasury bond and make lots of money, and always buy in when the U.S. Treasury is really low. Basically, cost is low, the yield is high, and then start selling when the cost is high and the yield is very low. It's always been able to make some money last 10, 15, 20 years, I believe, from what I read. So maybe this is just another one, and of course with the pressure between U.S. and China, China basically said, okay, sell some more, and just see how U.S. governments go deal with it. But on the whole, Nobody knows why that 800 points suddenly just dropped down in 1,000 points when everybody think it's so good, everything's fine. So it's gotta be a bit jittery as far as I'm concerned. Also, there's like 2 more months, which is about 8 weeks before the U.S. election. And I said before, as we go closer to the U.S. election, Donald Trump's just going to do whatever he can, try to pull his rating up. So at the moment, the common enemy, I suppose, that's what the U.S. government is saying, both Democrat as well as Republican, is China. Basically, they point the guns outward to say anybody challenges U.S. dominance is a bad boys. And China has been there all the time, no matter how much it helped the U.S. In general to manufacture a lot of the goods and services outside, take on a lot of, pardon my language, crap, like environmental issues and stuff for exchange of money. Yes, U.S. has helped from what you call the middle class to grow from like 5% or something to like 20-30% now. But at the same time, China has imported, because of that, has imported a lot of issues because it's trying to make money. It doesn't really care about the environment or a lot. We lax on the environment issue than the Europeans as well as the Americans, and now they start to understand that impact now. But the cost of China's manufacturing things for both Europe and US has been much lower than they could try to do the same thing back home, so to speak, back in US and in Europe. So somehow for the last 15-20 years, all these things basically gone out the windows. Now China has benefited a lot from US, but US also benefit a lot from China as well. So this globalization is helping both sides. But for some reason, Donald Trump only think, maybe a bit of, I'm not sure it's the right word, maybe, white power, that kind of things, just say, at this time, just say China is always bad, just like I used to say Russia is bad. It's basically democratic country against communist country. But at the end of the day, is globalization is here to help both sides. Both sides wins if the trade goes around. And but unfortunately, I think this chat between U.S. and China, this spat between the two is not helping. And of course, the China is going to do something. U.S. probably have upper hand financially, especially, but China is not lame duck like what happened to Japan and what happened to Europe. So China is probably going to quite a tough fight. We just see how thing goes. But on the market side, just gotta it's gonna be next 8 weeks or so. It's a lot more jittering. I already said about a month or so before, and I don't know what else is gonna say. I mean, this time, I think there's Donald Trump rally last week or something, or this week, and say, oh, China is created, bring us the virus and cause a problem, blah, blah, blah. Hey, excuse me, sir, Mr. President, but how about your handling? Just like UK government, the handling of the pandemic has been crap. And it shows how badly both governments, Western country in general, are not very good at try to cope with a pandemic. That's irrespective who made it, or it's a natural, doesn't matter. But the West are not prepared for a pandemic, basically some of virus, event. That also means that if you read between the lines, that means they're good at probably covering chemical warfare or something, or dirty bombs or something. But if somebody created a virus and actually can pass on and cause lots of issues, then the West are just vulnerable, not able to cope with it. First of all, the practices, the way they the manufacturing of the equipment, health equipment and stuff, is a lot rely on overseas, China in particular, but also Southeast Asia and stuff, and they just couldn't get those things back in the country fast enough. And then secondly, they always somehow, for some reason, from this pandemic, it shows that very slow in reaction. Asia have seen SARS before back in 2003, and they basically seen something similar to that quickly, ramp up their protection, so to speak, put up their guards. But the Europe, for some reason, and so is America, very slow. Nobody really talk about it during this election time in U.S. about how badly their own country, U.S., has been coping and putting up the barriers and trying to save its people, and how it's handled its health equipments, and try to put maybe lockdown, or ask people to stay at home, or put some mask on, whatever, or whatever action they need to take to reduce the pandemic, the virus that's spreading in U.S. So this is what's going to happen for the next 8 weeks. I'm going to see a lot more. I just feel a lot more. Donald Trump going to say much about China, and Biden probably will say something, but not probably as much as not as much as Donald Trump. And then what happened next? I just have a suspicious feeling, because Trump, in a way, has always been, he's now, however you like him as a businessman or not, but he is a businessman. He is also a TV personality, so to speak. Who doesn't know Apprentice? And he know how to work the media. He know how to math. He's also the first president who's relying a lot on Twitter as well, to show his point of view, that kind of thing. I wouldn't be surprised he will be using his mouth, his words, to actually influence the election a bit, in my view. Possibly back like 2000, just don't give up until maybe everything is counted, and anything is doubtful votes probably will just go to the court or something, and not relinquish the power until the court actually settle, or something like back in 2000 when George W. Bush and Al Gore was fighting for the presidency, and the court step in and get the victory to George W. Bush. It could well be that kind of thing is going on. But who knows? But as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be quite volatile next 8 weeks or so, and there's quite a bit of changes because of this volatility on Thursday and Friday, and basically that's something that we're going to talk about in a minute. But the other things I would like to also point out here is, for some reason, not just a pandemic, but President Donald Trump don't seem to be dealing much with the black people's Black Lives Matter movement, how black people has been treated, and continue just sort of push it aside, say all this violence and demonstrations and things, and didn't really just go and meet the black community to actually say what can we do to make it better. Remember, the black people, in my view anyway, I'm outsider from America, looking inward from outside, the black people didn't ask to go into US or here in the UK as well. A lot of them has been tricked or been transport over not on their own will, and then basically kidnapped, in my view. And to then say, okay, you're allowed to vote and have a life in this country and all, fair enough. But then why is it they still being treated like a second-class citizen? And even yes, you have a black president before Obama, but this president Donald Trump don't seems to be talking much about giving the black people a bit more fair level ground playing field. Especially you look at the American U.S. The police and how they treat people. Basically, as far as I'm kind of see from outside here, is should first then ask questions, and the black people for some reason get shot more often than white people. Maybe news is biased around the world. It's only sort of show more shooting of white policemen against black people, black suspect, or just not showing white policemen shooting white people. I'm sure it probably happens, but probably not as much. Especially Jacob Blake, he's walking away from the policeman, maybe go to a car, but why did there may be some weapons in the car, which turned out to be a knife or something. But then why the policeman had to shoot the guy 7 times at the back is a bit beyond me. Why don't they treat or shoot Jacob in the hands or the legs, so it's not killed him or make him paralyzed? Why can't they do that? It's just for me, just out beyond me, basically. But as far as I'm concerned, Donald Trump don't seem to be cares too much about the Black Lives Matter movements and not do anything. I mean, Joe Biden at least going to make. I think he met Jacob Blake, but where's Donald Trump? He's going around rallying for white people's vote, but it don't seems to care much or talk too much about the black people. He might have some black supporters, of course, in Republican, but in the general feeling from outside, I don't seem he's addressing the black issues here at all. The black people's being how they treated in the society in general, and also especially the policemen, how they do it. And then back to the Hong Kong young people demonstrating, saying how brutal the Hong Kong police force is. Compared to U.S. police force, they're numb ducks. They don't go around and shoot people 8 times at the back or 7 times at the back. They actually got beaten up by a group of protesters with not sticks, not wooden sticks, metal sticks. And they didn't even shoot back. So if they try to do that in America, I'm sure them got shot ages ago. So in that basically that note, I will go to the next bit, which is my update on my portfolio. Okay, this week will be quite busy since basically Thursday, that big move big downward move in US means stock market. Basically move a lot of shares that I've been tracking going down, and also it seems to cause some issue with the crude oil as well. So let's get started. First is Apple. I say just now, shares going down, and Apple is not avoid from it. So short term is turned to a sell now from buy last week. Medium and long term is still a buy. Same thing for Amazon. Short term is a sell, and medium and long term still a buy. US dollar, Australian dollar against US dollar. This seems to continue. So the move just continue to move, and US dollars index don't seem to be recovering much. I think as evidence of bottoming out, but Australian dollar still continues strengthened, and I think it's basically this one had gone to 0.73 last week or something. Now about that, gone back down to 0.72. So, but still in an uptrend, even though a bit more sideways, very slow, a bit like crude oil for the last month or so. So just keep watching, but at this stage is still a buy across the board. So short term, medium term, long term is still a buy for Australian dollar against US dollar. Next is Brent crude. Is short term is a sell, medium term is neutral, long term is a sell. WTI US crude oil, short term is a sell, medium term is neutral, long term is a sell. So this one somehow this week for oil anyway have changed tune, and as far as concerned, this since March or something, when people talk about minus $37, and even some commentators in America say minus hundreds or BS to me, basically it has recovered and just continue like backed up to the 440 marks or so. Now it's coming back down a little bit because people seeing this lockdown, and then the second wave comes in, and of course people might be still driving within their country, but the main driver for me, I think, for the crude oil is shipping, sending goods and services between different countries, as well as flights, international flights, and there's still a lot more lockdown. Local within the country they might be using, but long-term wise, I mean, until international flights allowed to go around and have recovered a bit, I don't see crude oil going up much. So basically, it's sell this week, so watch this space. Make sure you go, and the market when your system says sell, then sell. Don't stay in love with it. Okay. Next is DAX. The short term is still buy, medium term has changed to neutral, long term is still buy. So big fluctuation there after so to speak, after America. Dow Jones, like I said, short term is a sell now, medium term is still a buy, long term is still a buy. So this sudden drop about 1,000 points now for Thursday and Friday together is causes quite a lot of share price to move down. So the index basically gone down, which is Friday. So FTSE 100 in UK basically sell across the board, short, medium, and long term. So even the S2 systems, Turtle System 2, is also showing a sell. So it's sell across the board now. This one seems to be, FTSE seems to have gone down earlier than the Europeans, as well as earlier than the Americans. But could it be a leading indicator? I don't know. Just have to wait and see. Next is gold. Gold short term is a sell, same as last week, and also neutral for S2 systems, medium term, and then long term is a buy. So no change from last week here, but one thing, just like what I said before, I think last week I said it before. So long as gold stay above 1920 area, which is the height of back in 2011. It's still, I still think it's just basically a base building for gold, but the shape of the what you call high, we haven't got low yet. Only high lows coming down. Haven't seen lower lows yet, and it seems to be doing a little bit of triangle formation there, and there might be keep on testing this 1920 mark. So I won't be surprised if the 1920 might be breaking down somehow, and then gone down a bit before it recovers. Maybe even go down to like something 18,000, start 18,000. So we just have to wait and see what happens. But definitely from the chart point of view, it's not good. Short term is definitely sell. Medium term is neutral. Long term is still holding just about. Next is Hong Kong index, Hang Seng. Short term is a buy still. Medium term is neutral, but long term has changed somehow. It's gone into a sell mode now. The fluctuation in America definitely affect Hong Kong index too. Next is Nasdaq. Short term is a sell. Medium and long term is still a buy. This one, just like last Thursday, none of the major indexes seen any escape from this big sell-off, so we continue on Friday. So it's no surprise here. Short term is a sell now for Nasdaq, but medium and long term still a buy. Over in Japan, Nikkei is short term is still a buy, medium term is neutral, long term is a buy. So not much different from last week. Silver, same as his brother. Gold, short term is a sell, medium and long term still a buy. So I think whatever is happening for gold, I think could not as much reflecting back in silver. It's still around the 25 mark, 28 mark, that kind of thing. Haven't broke up back above 30. But if gold is go down, silver probably will follow suit as well. So watch out. Next is US dollar against Chinese yuan. I said before, the US dollar index not doing well, even though trying to recover back to 93. It just really couldn't at this moment. And Chinese yuan basically strengthening. So it takes more US dollar basically to buy the Chinese. US dollar, more US dollar to buy the Chinese yuan. So less of China basically having a really big issue with its export because Chinese yuan is strengthening. But from what I read is basically last time you already learned back in 2011 and 12 when its main export market, which is America as well as Europe, has tanked because of prime market issue. It has already started trying to sell more back to its own people, basically more for consumer within its own country, own border. It has, capability to manufacture most things, not the high-tech stuff to America, but most like fridge, washing machine, cars, and fans, and air conditionings, and machines, and building equipments, and so forth. I'm sure that China basically can sustain itself, but probably what from my point of view is Chinese yuan increasing its strength. It then able to buy more for products from outside with less Chinese yuan, which is a good thing for consumer, able to buy more stuff, but with the spread between U.S. and China, and this spread seems to be going around with other countries to India as well, and I think there's a lot of backhandling by the U.S. government going around the world, not just on 5G's turn around the world, don't do things with China. Australia doing similar thing, Canadians stuck in the middle, and India seems to be, I think, helping India is helping US try to do something to China as well. So it's a lot of disruption over there, but we'll see how it goes. Next is US dollar against Japanese yen. Short term is still a buy. I changed the buy this week, yep. And short term, medium and long term is a sell. So short term is a buy, medium and long term is a sell. So I think Japanese yen's got to be up and down a little bit, or maybe sideways until they've got a new prime minister installed. Next is British pound against Japanese yen and British pound against US dollar. So same as last week, across the board, short term, medium term, and long term is to buy for these two crosses. So this is good. Now this shows a string of trend following in general. Sometimes this trend has been up, or both of them have been a buy since early August. It's almost a month now. And if you're doing a day trading, you probably still make money on all this trade, but then it's much, for me anyway, especially I'm not the one who I don't really have time to sit in front of the monitor and just observe, 5 minutes chart, 10 minutes chart or something. I got a full-time job, even though work from home, I'm still working. So the trend following basically capturing longer trend. This one is at least a month, hopefully still continue to go. If the the US dollar index continue to go down, so just watch this space, continue, keep your powder dry. Next is Bitcoin. Short term is a sell, medium term is neutral, long term is also neutral. Now this one. It's been a sell since last week. I already pointed out for short term, but also I think this week has been quite volatile. It's come down to 12,000 mark or something. It possibly go test 10,000 mark again. It's a bit disappointing for this one. I was expecting Bitcoin to just be like gold and silver, but it didn't really. Just gone up a little bit after it broke the 9,600 marks or so, and then come back down. Nothing much headway. A bit of disappointing overall. Next is iShares 20, which is TLT ETF. Short term is a buy. Medium and long term is neutral now with the jittering in the stock market. People short term wise just walk into bonds. That's why short term is going up for this ETF. Last but not least is Tesla. It's just like Apple and Amazon. Short term is a sell. Long term, medium term still a buy. So from my point of view, I think it's about time for a bit of correction. From so far, what we see is 1,000 points is, as far as I'm concerned, is not good. Because if a general market already seen, after the March and April time when you see the big fluctuations, volatility, 1,000 point up, 2,000 point down, that kind of thing for about a month or so, a month or two, month and a half. That is what happened when the market is turning, or it's going down and something is booked. And every time when it's turning, there's always this up and down, large up and down kind of thing, and try to change direction, find its feet. And for when it's found its feet, it's just slowly going up. You've seen the amount of increases. The market when it go up is like 300-400 points or maybe 500 points, and it go down is a couple of 100 points or maybe 300 points. So it's never more than 500-ish or 1,000 points, that kind of thing. So it sort of raises its ugly head. That indication is showing that the stock market is about due for some sort of correction, and maybe a bit more. Now it could, from my point of view, this year I just worry about October is coming, and then you have the election as well, which is basically around. October is not generally a good time for market, and a lot of times this year especially because of pandemic, and then we have this large amount of money pumping into the stock market. But remember what I said before, not just US, I think UK is the same. The government's help to furlough people onto the basic student employment, the help from governments go to stop, I think, sometime October. So there'll be quite a lot more people going to be out of job. Various countries and government try to do whatever they can to help, but how much can the country actually help? America has before the pandemic lockdown, it was like 4.5 trillion something, on US debt. It had gone up to, within a couple of months, gone to like I think just over 7 trillion. So it spent a 1.5, almost 2 trillion kind of thing, 2 and a bit, for the last, 6 months or so. Can the country continue to print another 2 trillion US dollars to hope the economy picks up? Now, will it picks up? As far as I'm concerned, it won't, because not at the moment anyway, because you still have the Chinese and US spat. Other countries is still recovering from from coronavirus. We haven't got a vaccine. Just like my own children going back to school, I'm totally worried when they go to school what kind of bugs they're gonna catch. October is here. It's autumn. There's also flu coming along. How that's going to work, I don't know, and we don't have any vaccine yet. There may be some great news coming out to say, "Oh, we got some vaccine," but then it's generally being used and pushed around for the world to use and have some vaccine that you can just go to a normal surgery, so your doctor and get an injection, and it does actually work. It's a lot of questions at this point in time, and because also the economy has been badly hit by the pandemic, where people get their job back. Yes, a lot of countries recover a lot from since the lockdown on employment-wise, but the businesses have got a lot of help from government, and how long can government help? I don't know, and they'll come to a point that government can only have to reduce its subsidies to these companies, and can they continue to sustain it and keep the full workforce, which is very much doubtful. So I will have to expect unemployment to continue going up a bit. Not going to be as bad as like March and April kind of thing, but for it to quickly recover and take on all this unemployment rate, to actually continue to go down, is very doubtful. October coming, airlines, and the other people keep on talking about airlines at the moment, about how much people they employ directly or indirectly, but what about the shipping? Like sending goods and services, the trade, basically the cargoes, sent between countries, and all the supporters services, shipping docks and so forth. Not talked about much on that front as well. I think that quite a big laid off already, probably a bit more as well. So October, I don't think it's going to be a fun month. This little hiccup on Thursday and Friday probably just preview of what might be coming. There's a lot more volatility coming, and then you have the election coming as well. And I said it before, I don't think Donald Trump just going to give up that easily. Just go do whatever, rally the people vote, mostly white people, and then the black people probably vote against him. We just have to see how it goes. I just hope it's not going to be too bad, but as a trader, I think there's a great opportunities to make money both up and down. But remember, don't marry your position. If the market, like my system already say, some of you actually go turn the Apple and Tesla, go and get out, you can always get back in. Your system tell you to get back in, and most likely make a lot of money out of Apple and Tesla as well, and Amazon as well. So just keep your powder dry. If your system say get out, then get out. Don't marry position, and there's always volatility going around. So I don't expect it to be that easy ride from like when we go from March to now to end of August, early September, more or less like a straight line. So it's going to be a lot more volatile couple of months, I would expect. So watch this space and be careful, and I will talk to you next week. Bye for now.